Hey folks, this is Kelani, and welcome to my armorsmithing guide. Now, I would like to introduce you to my little guardian. She's level 15. She hasn't really done anything except armorsmithing, but that's fine. That's okay. She can live with that. She'll make my warrior the greatest armor. And maybe get leveled later. So, armorsmithing. For armorsmithing, you're going to be using metals and cloths. Now, this is a little different to weaponsmithing, as you don't use your woods. Curiously, you don't use your leathers. I thought leather would be more appropriate than cloth, but never mind. You also do not use precious metals, so you do not use silver and gold. You use dark steel instead of platinum once again. And, annoyingly, you're going to be spending about twice as much on raw Tradeskill materials, I guess. So you've got your coal and tin and primordium for your smelting, and but you've also got your spools, all of these spools, for your cloth. So if we have a look, at the refinement, take that off. Going all the way down to refinement, you can see that to make your bolts you just use your silk, and once again for your ores you just need your ores. When you're going to insignias, you need your spools here, your crafting materials, and several bolts. So it's a little iffy. Once again, you're going to need to plan ahead. As you do not want to be using all your cloth in one place. You'll be using your cloth for, if we can get something we can actually make. Oh, never mind. Crafting components, that would help. Here we go. You can see that you use your cloths for linings and then your metals for casings. So you're using your cloth for both the insignia, or the stats I guess, as well as a component for the actual crafting. So to see how this works, we'll just grab us some spools of silk.
Thank you.
Create us some silk. Once again, while leveling, you'll obviously want to try and max out your experience from refinement.
You'll find everything you need
It's
here.
always the best way to level these professions. If we do that again, we should get an insignia. Excellent. Don't want to waste those. So we'll go with a night silk insignia. Crafting, we'll make some hands. Now, one thing to look at is the requirements on these. So if we go to chest plates, they require a few more spools, and the chest plate requires more ingots than the casing for boots and the lining for boots. You're just going to have to be careful what you're making and make sure you've got enough of what you need to make what you need. So these are 1-to-1, one casing to one lining, and then to one insignia. Now this changes a little bit when you get up to however high you want to get up to, but crafting some of the exotic ones, things may get a little iffy, let's just say that, especially with your materials required for insignias. If nothing else, you're going to start seeing one heck of a rise in required materials. But yeah, 1-to-1-to-1. So once again, you're going to need to plan ahead with how much you're going to make, really. Obviously, if you end up with 5 plates and 3 linings, that's 2 plates that you're not going to be able to use. Unless you're some form of amazing genius who manages to fit a legging lining with a plate gauntlet. But, you know, clearly I'm not that great. So 1-to-1-to-1. And you will be able to discover items. Once again, while leveling, you'll need to discover items over creating items. And Armorsmith is actually really nice for this, because you can create the same insignia and go through all these pieces of armour, there's 6 in total, before you actually need a new insignia. So if you're doing this off the trading post, like I did for the majority of this, you can buy up the cheapest fine crafting materials, which is actually usually the venom sacks. Go through all those. If you're still not where you need to be, if you're close and it's like that much cheaper, you can just go ahead and create those. It shouldn't be too much of an experience loss. Or you can look at the next cheapest fine crafting material, buy that up and start again. It's a really, really nice one to level. Despite the amount of cloth you need, you do need a considerable amount of cloth. But the nice thing is, you don't quite need as much metal rather. So it's a lot nicer in that respect, especially when you get up to 400 and start crafting the exotic recipes. If we have a little look at these.
So, what brings you
I
here?
want to see the insignias, please. There we go. You can see that they require quite a bit of
Let's see the color of
gossamer.
your coin.
Now this would end up being 10 scraps of gossamer. Obviously
Say,
quite a few spools, they're not really a problem by those. The same standard of 5 ectoplasm and 5 fine crafting material. But if we have a little gander at our casing, the casing only needs 2, so that's only 4 orichalcomores, compared to make an exotic greatsword I actually require 42 orichalcomores. I think I know which one I'm preferring there, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Obviously you need another bolt there for the lining, but you know, it's not too bad. So in the way of materials, it is actually nicer when you get to 400. I'm not entirely sure about any
Find everything you need here.
higher rank exotic armors, you know, that may lead into legendary armor, if there is any. I haven't honestly looked at anything. My main focus has been on legendary weapons, because let's be honest, that's the first thing people look at. Come on, that's like a huge shiny sword. So apart from that, there's not really much to it. You've got your boxes as well. Now, ooh, these are interesting. I'm not entirely sure if these are
What brings you here?
overly profitable yet, but as you go up with your boxes,
Let's aid you.
you can see that down at the bottom here, you don't require anything here. And then we go up one and you require a minor rune of holding. These are sold by the vendor as well, so they actually start at 5 silver. Now that's pretty steep for a 10 slot box using iron. But as we go up, rune of holding 15, major rune 50 silver, greater rune 2 gold, and get to the orichalcum at 20, you're actually paying 10 gold, and that's for 1 raw crafting material. There's no other place to get that, unless somebody's accidentally bought one and needs to get rid of it on the trading post. But I don't think they're giving that to you cheap. So 10 gold straight up, as well as 20 orichalcomore. Now that'll probably end up costing you 80 silver. So approximately 11 gold in raw crafting materials for these 20 slot boxes. Now whether people are willing to pay that much gold for a 20 slot box, whereas, you know, that one, 2 slots, 2 extra slots for around 8 gold difference. Not sure I'd pay that, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I think I'll stick with 18 slot for now.
Outrun a centaur.
I actually think I'm still trying to sell one of those on the trading post, so they're not selling for a decent amount of profit either. But while leveling, some of these lower ones are kind of worth it. You can usually get your 5 silver back for your iron boxes, and your 15 back for your steel. Maybe a bit of a push for your 50 silver for your dark steel. But if you can't break even, you may be able to cut losses, and it may end up being maybe not cheaper way of leveling, but I mean, if you can break even, then it's going to be a, you know, a cheaper way of leveling rather than buying a lot of fine crafting materials. And these do stay orange for quite a long time past your refinement process, past your initial 3 crafting material insignias actually. So that may be another way to level up, depending on whether you can get this gold back. Flogging them on map might be an idea. But apart from that, armorsmithing is pretty straightforward. if you have any questions, as always, please leave them in the comments below. I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. I believe my next one will either be Huntsman or Artificer. Potentially. Might check out Chef, actually. Cooking. That could be interesting. I've tinkered about with that for a little while because it was actually amazing for experience, but now that that's nerfed, that's all under the carpet. So, thanks for watching. Once again, please, if you have any questions, any queries, please do leave them in the comments below. I like to think I know what I'm talking about with these kind of things, so I may be able to help, hopefully. Thanks for watching. If you're trying for Armorsmith, good luck. I hope the trading post prices fare well for you. As always, have fun. Edge your way around. Be careful with this little section. This is probably going to be the part where you die, if at all. But